Hey everyone, it's Jack Ellison with the 10,000 Sales Calls podcast. Special guest today, Linda Stockslager. So with Propeller Pay, you're probably saying, what the hell is Propeller Pay? We're going to talk about that and why this podcast is worth listening to. So Linda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Jack. I appreciate you having me today. Well, first I'll introduce myself, Linda Stockslager. I reside in Salem, South Carolina. Probably never heard of it, but it's a great place. And I've been in the payments industry now for, close to 20 years. Started out with American Express and kind of evolved from there. And I just absolutely love it. Just love being able to help customers grow their business and save money all at the same time. So
People were saying, what are you going to do a podcast about this week? And I go, well, we're doing payment processes. And they're going, what are you payment processes? That's nothing about the cleaning industry. And I go, well, let's have a dive on that. So, how we do this, Linda, is just really, we're focused on contract cleaners. We're focused on people to kind of how to make their business better. And, what we want to do on the podcast is really get to know you. So we'll get to know you in the podcast. We'll have in the show notes how to reach out to you if they see some interest in this, which I think they will. But I preach to the contract cleaners, both big and small, more so the small to medium-sized guys, that, you can make big moves within your company. There's certain times of the year you can make big moves, big hires, new contracts signed. But I think the thing you need to focus on as an owner of a small to mid-sized contract cleaning business is how do you make those incremental improvements? And as I was thinking about you and I getting together and talking about, payment processes, the adage is if you make a 1% improvement every day in your company or every week or every month, that combines up over time. And, you start thinking about how these companies, they process payments. There's the invoicing that they send out, but a lot more and more is going to credit card. And I think a lot of folks don't think about the whole process of how they select the credit card, processor, what they need to know, what they don't know. And I think that's what I'd like to accomplish today and kind of get the word out, those people that maybe haven't thought about this, to think about it, because it could be one of those 1% moves that just puts a little extra money in their pocket every month, every year, and go from there.
You bet. And that's what we're here to do, is we're here to help companies really, set the groundwork for getting their money faster. I mean, who doesn't want their money faster, right? And making sure that they're not paying a lot of money, fees, et cetera, in order to expedite that payment process. So Propeller Pay, the way I best like to describe us is we're a boutique group. And what I mean by that is we're small, but we're a powerhouse. And we're a powerhouse in that we're really, really strong in technology, customer service, and optimizing payments. And that's to make sure that everybody that we work with on a one-to-one basis, and that's really important. We work with every single one of our customers one-to-one. And it's important to do that because everybody has a different need. Everybody has a different type of business. Everybody has a different customer set. So the way that they're structured really shouldn't be cookie cutter. It should be based on what their needs and their customer needs are. So our technology is in place. Our customer service is top notch, again, to be able to help every one of our customers with every step of the way. And optimizing payments, what does that mean? That means that you're going to be getting the best absolute price when you accept credit cards as a form of payment.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. So I'm a contract cleaner, small to mid-sized. Cash flow is probably always, a challenge across, small to mid-sized companies, regardless. I'm traditionally sending out invoices. Clients get that, they process it. That takes time, 30 to 50 days ballpark. But then you've got the processing fees with the credit card. So how do you kind of counter that if cash flow is important to you, in processing, you want to avoid as many processing fees as possible. How would you balance that as a company, what you offer versus what traditional methods are?
So what's really important, there's a couple of things that go into place. So interchange is basically, or the fees that are incurred when accepting a credit card as a form of payment. So fees go back to the card issuing bank. So in this case, say if it's a Wells Fargo card, the card issuing brand. So it's a Visa, it's a MasterCard, American Express. So all of those people, those entities get fees that come back. And then the processor, of course, gets fees. So it's most important, number one, to make sure that when you're working with a processor, that the interchange is true interchange. That means that it's not being marked up by somebody. And the best way of looking at that is by looking at one of your statements. Is the statement broken down by every single card type? And if not, if it's all bundled together, well, that's a red flag that maybe you're getting some extra fees in there that you really shouldn't get. And then working with a processor. Are you a business to business company? Are you working directly on a consumer base to make sure that those rates, and the processor really understands what your business is, to make sure that when they're setting you up, you're getting those absolute best rates. And that's super important. And that's something that we help every single one of our customers with. The other thing is, yes, there are fees incurred. Like I said, that they do go back to the card brands, the issuing bank, and the processor. However, there's also a way to apply a surcharge, which covers the majority of those fees. So if you go into a store, like I was out, for breakfast this morning, and I paid a 3% fee to help that merchant cover the cost of those credit card fees. Again, a small company, and every little bit counts. So I want to say, like today, probably a lot more than even a year ago. Almost everywhere I go into, I'm paying a 3% surcharge to help alleviate those fees. So that's something that we could help set up all of our merchants on, to make sure that the money isn't coming out of your pocket, but instead you're retaining that money, the hard-earned money, into your bank account.
No, that's a good point.
There's some of the things that we could do to help.
No, I didn't even think about that. I would dare guess, and I would dare ask the audience how many you're actually passing that transaction fee over. And again, cash flow is key, and the ability to turn your money around quickly and get that processed and back into your bank quickly. But that's definitely an advantage. So give us other terms. You mentioned the interchange, but give us some other terms and definitions around things we need to think about when you're looking at a statement of what you're doing now.
Well, the first thing is that you should be looking for, first of all, you should be getting a statement, right? So that's the number one most important. And when you get that statement, make sure that you open it. I mean, I talk to so many folks who say, well, I don't understand it, Linda, so I'm just not going to even bother opening it. Open up that statement and take a look at it. And you may not understand it, but in that case, reach out to us, and we'll explain what's on that statement. It's really important for you to see every single month what you're getting billed for. You want to make sure that you're PCI compliant. And what does that mean? So the payment card industry has standards that you need to be compliant. If you're not compliant, well, you could run into fines. So it's really important to make sure that whoever you're working with ensures that you are compliant. It's a kind of a simple test, a number of questions that you just need to go through, and we help all of our customers with that questionnaire. And if you're not compliant, in most cases you will be charged, and a lot of times you're charged an extra $125. I've seen people charge $250 extra a month. You don't want to be paying that for being not compliant. So make sure that you're working with somebody who ensures that you are compliant and you're not getting charged for a PCI compliance or a PCI non-compliance fee. You should not be charged those additional fees whatsoever. So, work with the processor and go through step by step and understand exactly what you're paying and what you shouldn't be paying.
Do you see that PCI charge come across with a lot of companies you work with?
I see it quite a bit. I see, believe it or not, I've seen people charge PCI compliance fees and PCI non-compliance fees all on the same statement. So you're either compliant or you're not compliant, right? So you shouldn't be charged a fee to be compliant, and you shouldn't be charged a fee to be non-compliant, because by answering that questionnaire, that's going to keep you compliant. And that's also going to protect you against any fraudulent activity that you may encounter.
Interesting. Interesting. So you would be willing, I guess that's what you do, but if anyone raises their hand and said, hey, Linda, could you take a look at this statement? You can go through that and see opportunities of making that incremental improvement within these organizations?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we're here to do. So we take a look at that statement, provide an analysis free of charge, of course, and then take the time to go through with the business owner and explain what those charges are. And if there's charges that shouldn't be there, we're going to point those out, and we're going to make sure moving forward that those charges, if, you'll never see those charges again. Let me put it that way. So
Nice. And as far as companies, the ability to make that transition, again, you see Stripe out there, I see things in Best Buy that you can buy this little device that you can process credit cards. And I guess, do you need all of that hardware necessarily to actually kind of implement a program, or I think smartphones kind of do everything these days?
You absolutely do not. And what's really important, and we do this, we'll sit down and understand, like I mentioned earlier, every business has different needs. So it's really important to understand each of those individual business needs and the best way for them to accept payments, and really what the best way for their customers to make those payments. So let me give you an example. If you're somebody that has a brick and mortar storefront, and somebody's coming in to, actually maybe make purchases in your storefront, you'll need a hardware or piece of equipment because you're taking a card present transaction. If you have somebody and you're out cleaning and you're doing that same cleaning on the first week and the third week of every single month, same customer base, same cleaning, same charges, you don't have a need to have a piece of hardware that you're paying for in an office because you're not doing a card present transaction. That could be done via a recurring billing on a virtual terminal. There's no charge to use that virtual terminal, and it's very easy for us to set up a recurring billing payment. So on first Friday of the month and the third Friday of the month, boom, that credit card is going to get charged for that particular payment. Another scenario, you're out and you're cleaning and a customer wants to pay you right when that job is done. You're in their office. Well, you could take that payment right on your smartphone. Be done by using an app that's downloaded, again, free of charge, and you taking that payment immediately. So in all of those scenarios, what you're doing is we're setting you up to take the payment the best way possible, and all of that money is coming into your bank account the following business day. So versus you sending out an invoice and then having to chase payments down. So now you're paying somebody to stuff an invoice. You're paying somebody to chase that payment down, and you're waiting weeks on end to actually get that money into your bank account. Why not set it up that it's happening exactly when it needs to happen, and you're getting that money deposited, like I said, the next business.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this now. I'll throw a little curveball at you. A lot of guys out there and gals and own businesses, they're using QuickBooks. They're using other kind of mid-grade, financial packages. You guys integrate with that as well?
We absolutely do integrate with QuickBooks as well as a number of other accounting systems.
Okay, so they could actually tie that in so that they know it's basically syncing back and forth between.
Absolutely. And the other nice thing is, I mentioned recurring payments being set up on a virtual terminal. You could also do things like a host a payment page where you're pushing payments out. So you're sending out electronic invoices to folks, but you also can send them a link, which will give them the option of paying with a credit card or doing an ACH payment. So again, you're pushing out that invoice electronically. You're expediting that payment. So you're not waiting for the snail mail to go out and then come back. But you're able to get that payment more immediately, and you're giving them the option of paying with both a credit card as well as an ACH. And you could also put that surcharge in there as well. So you're doing a couple things. You're expediting the payment. You're adding a 3% surcharge, which is covering the majority of those fees, and you're getting that payment into your bank account a lot faster. So again, there's various options, all dependent on the best needs for your company.
That's awesome. Let me ask you this too. This ties in again. ACH. We know credit card transaction. We know the snail mail invoicing process, but ACH. I've got my arms a little bit around that. But let's just say I'm a XYZ contractor. I'm sending a paper-based invoice. I have the option on there, say mail a check into us. There's give them a ACH option, and here's a credit card option. You guys can facilitate that kind of multiple options if they want to transition kind of slowly.
Yep, it gives them the option of which type of payment they would like to make, and it gives them, again, they would be able to select that particular payment. Receipts are sent out also electronically via email. So as soon as that payment is generated, an email receipt automatically goes back out to that customer. And again, it could tie back into their accounting system as well. So it's the full integration.
Well, talk about, again, maybe I'm jumping all around, but I'm learning something. So thank you for that. But the interchange and kind of an overview of that. And I know that some contractors I've talked with, they'll put the price here and they'll say, listen, if you pay within 10 days because of cash flow, we'll give you a 3% discount. Give me some plays, some scenarios of what you've seen, clever things to do to get that payment processed through you versus through a traditional snail mail type, situation.
Well, again, what we would do is we would talk a little bit about, right at the onset of the relationship, of the way that they want to be able to take that payment. So if somebody says, I'm always out and I'd like to take that payment right when I'm on site, well, we're going to set them up on a mobile app capability with the virtual terminal. That virtual terminal also allows them to see every single transaction on a real-time basis. So let me give you an example. You have somebody set up where somebody's taking payments on the phone via a virtual terminal. You have somebody that's out in the field taking payments on a one-on-one basis with their mobile app. You might have somebody else who prefers to send out electronic invoices through a hosted payment page. All of that is viewed on an online portal by that particular customer. So if you have the business owner and he wants to see who's taking online payments, who's paying, via a hosted payment page, who's paying over the phone, who's paying via email, they'll be able to see all those various scenarios on a customized portal. They could look at it on their phone. They could look at it at their home in the evening. They could have their office manager managing that. They could have multiple people having access to it. So it doesn't need to be one way or the other. It could be multiple ways, depending, again, on the best needs for that particular business. So if you have somebody who just, old school, I still want to send out some, paper invoices, but then they have some customers who say, we don't want a paper invoice. We want to pay on the spot. We want to get this taken off our plate and we want to pay with their credit card. You might have customers who want to who make their payments in various ways, and to have that, you could definitely have that flexibility. And again, everything could be viewed all in one spot on a custom portal per that particular customer.
Nice. Give me some examples of things you've seen out there that, again, change is hard. Change management people, again, I would encourage everyone to look at those 1% incremental improvements every single day, or every single week or every single month, whatever it may be. But give me some examples of, $1 million to $2 million companies. Maybe, that is a sweet spot for us to talk through, because they're trying to figure out all these different processes, and it's just another one that they have to look at. As you get bigger, you have more of a CFO, and you can have a little more focus on the finances. But give me examples of what you've seen out there within companies 1 to 2 million, or 5 to 10 million. What kind of advantage has moving over to Propeller Pay seen for those guys or gals?
One of the biggest things, and I think I mentioned this in the beginning by saying that we're smaller, but we're a powerhouse. And I want to refer back to that because I think it's so important for a company, whether it be a small company or a larger enterprise company, to be able to have that one-on-one interaction. I want to have people I want to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and see how their business is running. Is everything okay? Can we do, a quarterly check to make sure everything's on par and where it needs to be? And on the flip side, I want to be able to give somebody my phone number. They could text me, they could call me. I'm accessible pretty much all of the time. I mean, I do sleep at night, so those are some of my downtimes, but I want to make sure that that customer knows they're not calling an 800 number. They're not going to sit in a queue and be number 25 and they're sitting in that for an hour and a half because they're just a small number in a large corporation. And that's what happens with a lot of these larger processors. That there isn't that one-on-one interaction. I mean, this is money. This is the future of organizations, right? You want to make sure that you're getting your money. You want to make sure that you're getting it the fastest way possible. You want to make sure that you're not incurring ridiculous fees that you shouldn't be incurring. And you need to be able to have that one-on-one interaction. And we pride ourselves in that. We really do. And, I like when somebody calls me and says, Linda, can you just explain this to me? Or I'm in a really frustrating situation right now. I just had a customer call me a little bit earlier today, and he has a large account. Well, he can't get into their portal. And then he's tried multiple times, and now he got blocked out. And so he called and he said, I really need to move this account. I'm beyond frustration. I'm moving it over to Propeller because I know that when I can't get into a portal, you're going to be able to help me. I mean, I spent a couple of hours on the phone with this particular gentleman the other night on another account that we just brought over because he was struggling with Authorize.net. So that's the types of things that if you are running into a situation and it's just, you're spending way too much time focusing on the payments because that's what we're here to help you do. You should be focusing on building your customer base and taking care of your customers. And it's our job, my job, to help on the payment side to make sure you're set up, again, the best way possible. And you're not losing money, but you're helping your business grow by making money by accepting credit cards as a form of payment.
I love it. So what I heard, boutique, I've heard customization, very much customization.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard integration with existing technology out there on the accounting side. I think that's a big one right here. I love the fact that you say you answer the phone because that's a hard thing to find within the finance industry these
Mm-hmm.
days. So let's just say I'm sold. I think I want to say, Linda, what is the next steps? What is the steps I should reach out to? I guess, first of all, in the show notes, we'll have a link to a form to basically introduce themselves to you. So that'll be the first step we can do. But what happens after they fill that form out? What's the process? How much time does it take? What hours? Whatever do people that are listening to this, they say, let me just see what's going on with this.
Exactly. So what happens as soon as I get the form, I reach out via the email, phone, the best way the way that's best for them, I should say. And then we'll schedule a time. We'll schedule 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And what we'll do during that particular time. And again, we work on a national level. So if somebody's out in California versus somebody's in the Chicago area versus somebody's in, the East Coast, we're working out the best time for you. Like I said, I make myself available. And if during the week doesn't work, I could do it on the weekend. So it's all about finding that 20 to 30 minute time. And what we're going to do during that time is I am going to ask you questions because I want to learn about your business. I want to learn about the business. I want to learn about your customers. So we're going to do a deep dive into that. So I have a full understanding of the best way to set you up from a payment perspective. We're going to I want to make sure that you have a statement or two statements ready. And a lot of times it'll be a busier time of the year versus a slower time of the year. So we could do a full analysis. I'll go through that statement. And then we'll schedule a follow-up call where I'll provide you with a full analysis of the statement, as well as my recommendations on the best way for you to be set up moving forward. The transition itself is literally could take a day or two at the very most. I have had folks that are set up literally within a half an hour, and it's just really filling out a couple of quick, name, address, tax ID, telephone number, just some basic information. We go ahead and get submitted. We get it through underwriting. You get an online portal, welcome online portal email. I will train you on that. And then we're moving full speed ahead and accepting payments. And again, it's really important to make sure at that point that you're really well versed in how to accept, and that's what I'm here for. So
awesome. Give me last thing for you. This is great. I love this. This is again eye opener that you don't think about these little small things, but they do add up if you're not looking at it. To your point, That analysis you spoke of, what do you typically, like, what are the key points that you pull out of that analysis? You're paying too much. I can see probably one, you're being taken maybe here or there. What do you see out of that analysis?
So I'll go through and I'll take a look at to make sure, number one, that it's actually showing interchange. So what I mean by that is a lot of times I'll take a look at a statement and it's not broken out by card brand, which it definitely needs to be. And it's one lump sum and it's saying like on, March 27th, you took $10,000 in credit card payments. Well, I don't know what that $10,000 is comprised of. So right away, that's going to red flag to say, something's not quite right there. And then again, take a look to make sure there's no extraneous fees. And I call them junk fees. Basically, junk fees they're non-existent. They shouldn't be charged. They're make-believe fees, right? So we want to make sure that there's no make-believe fees. Well, we're going to take those right off of the plate. We want to make sure that PCI, that PCI non-compliance fee is not there, because you really, really need to be PCI compliant. I want to make sure that the deposits are happening the next day. And all of this I could see on the statement. And then go back, like I said, I'll go through line item by line item pretty much and explain, this is what you're being charged. This is what you shouldn't be charged. But moving forward, this is how you'll see things.
Awesome. All of that through 2 statements. That's great. No, this has been great. I appreciate your time very much. This has been informative. We'll get this out, and my hope is you're going to see some people raise their hand to kind of say, I'm interested. I think at minimum, my suggestion is, again, I'll go back to 1% incremental improvements in your business every single week, every single day, whatever it may be. As far as next steps, we'll have the notes, we'll have all the comments. I'll leave the final thoughts to you. If you had to say what you want to say to somebody just in the elevator patch, going through and saying, hey, this is what I do and this is where I think he can help you. Give me just one last closing statement of kind of where you think, what you want to get across to the audience that are listening to this.
Well, I would love to be able to help people and help you, most importantly, grow your business and take payments and give you that peace of mind that that you're in a really good place when working with myself and Propeller
Awesome,
Pay.
awesome. Well, Linda, informative. Thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and I guess good luck to you with everything out there. And I definitely encourage everyone to reach out. We'll have the form on the website. We'll have show notes as well. So take a look at it. As Linda said, I think a quick 15-minute call followed by her doing the analysis and another follow-up call. I think you may find some free money out there if you look, let her look for you. So let's jump on that. And Linda,
hope I can help.
Thank you, Linda. Thanks for the time.
Thanks for having me, Jack.
Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.